He was the band's steady hand, the Rolling Stone who didn't roll.
Well, Charlie was an all-round gentleman. He was a brilliant rock and roll drummer. When he was on stage, he was the vital, steady, punchy rock that enabled the glamorous front line, the more exciting visually front line, to do their thing. And the combination was brilliant. But Charlie was very much the rock that held it all together.
Pleased to meet you. Hope you guessed my name.
But for a rock and roller, his first love was jazz. To escape rock stadiums, Charlie Watts came here to play in the intimacy of Ronnie Scott's in Soho.
He preferred playing in a small space. It was more of a delight for him and actually to communicate more closely with the audience. So a place like Ronnie Scott's was certainly ideal for that. It's quite a loss, actually. I've heard tributes where they said it won't be the Rolling Stones without Charlie in the band, but also from our perspective at Ronnie Scott's and the jazz scene, we've lost somebody who gave so much to the scene.
But the Rolling Stones story began in the borough of Richmond, at the unlikely rock and roll haven of Eel Pie Island on the Thames. Gina Way runs the venue that preserves the area's musical heritage.
For me personally, I used to go and see them back in 1963 when they played at the Station Hotel and then later on Eel Pie Island. And I feel like part of my youth has been taken away from me. You know, while the Rolling Stones were still rocking, then I was still young.
The development of the Stones was aided by their residency at the Eel Pie Island. Shortly after their final gig, they more or less went stratospheric, i.e., you know, if the tour doesn't go well, we'll see you soon. And of course, they never did. They never came back.
Well as the music, there was his style, a patron of Savile Row suits and handmade shoes. At George Cleverly, they still have a pair with his name on it.
Couldn't ever dislike the man. He was such a gentleman and he was very dapper.
He probably said himself, and I've heard it said, he's probably one of the most unlikely rock stars. He didn't like loud guitar music, he used to say to me. I remember him saying that I play guitar and he said, oh, you don't play that loud rock stuff, do you?
But what made him such a special drummer? John Graham plays Charlie Watts in the tribute band, the Rolling Tones.
He played one hand in traditional grip, like so, and he also played one hand with match grip, and then he lifted off the hat on the snare, so you get this lope. So when you hear Keith Richards talk about the bed, the musical bed that he's laid on for his whole career, that bed is Charlie Watts, and he's kind of doing this.
Charlie Watts, a slow hand of style, was 80.